Hello. Oh. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Slow Crafting podcast. My name's Nadine and I live in the northwest of England, and this is a bi-weekly podcast about trying to incorporate a slow fashion and slow living approach into all my crafty endeavours, and I cover knitting, spinning, sewing, crochet and probably a range of other fibre goodness as well at some point. Right, you can find me several places on the internet. You can find me as Crafty Nadine on Ravelry or via my blog themanyknitsofnadine.wordpress.com. Okay. Right, in terms of what am I wearing, I've got some hand knit items on today. This is a self-designed jumper in very uninteresting yarn that was deep stash and had been unravelled from other projects. I've worn it on the podcast before, and I might have talked about it then. But the more interesting bit of my handmade wardrobe today is these socks. Look at the fluff on them. They are some hand knit, hand spun socks. The fibre was originally from willow fibres. It's Teeswater, from Teeswater sheep, and I got it at Bakewell Wool Gathering a couple of years ago, and I spun it as chain ply, and then the heels and toes are in just Drops Fabel Uni Colour blend. I'll come back to that in a minute because I've got another pair of socks knitted from the rest of that ball of wool. But yes, they're lovely. I love my hand spun, hand knit socks. They're really comfortable, and I don't know, they just feel extra special because they're hand spun as well. And yes, we're back to wearing hand knit socks. Last week was beautiful sunshine. I was wearing my vest top that I'd made the week before. Pretty much lived in it, and I'd wanted to be wearing it again today to show you, but I'm just looking out of the balcony, and yeah, it's still raining, hence the rather dishevelled appearance. I did the nursery run in the pouring rain this morning. Yeah, back to woolly jumpers and hand knit socks this week, probably all week, but I'm not complaining because I like that, and I have rather a lot of them. Well, no, I don't have rather a lot of them, but I have a good amount. Okay, I haven't got any finished objects to show you. I'd wanted to have finished my second version of the Dotty Angel vest top this week, but last week I took my two children to my parents for the week. We had a Yorkshire holiday, it was delightful. But because I was at my parents and had the girls with me all the time, I didn't get as much crafting done as I would have done if I was at home, because we were out busy doing stuff and having visitors over, and I was having to be social instead of just knitting in a corner. But I've made some progress on a number of projects, and there's a couple of new projects that I've not shown you. So the vest top, which you probably remember is the Simplicity pattern. Oh, there you go, 8153, and I'm making the longer version but with the square bib. For this version, I have lengthened it by a good 2 inches, because the other one, well, it was a good length provided I wore the right bottoms for it. It could well have been a little bit short if I was wearing the wrong outfit. So this is what I've got so far. The ties are fastened at the back. I'll just show you how wide it is without the ties fastened. I can't even get it all in one screenshot. This is how wide it is. So, all the way across. This is a wide top, but it's got plenty of positive ease, which is good because my weight does fluctuate quite considerably. In the last week staying at my parents, I managed to put on half a stone in a week. Lots of home baked goods, and yeah, I'm sure my mum's a feeder. But yes, so I've got the bias binding done on the armholes. I've got the channel across the back for sliding the strap through. The straps, the ties are on the back. The straps for the shoulders are made, I just need to sew them on. I need to hem it, and then I need to attach the bib bit on the front. Now for the bib on this one, I've got some more naturally dyed fabric that I dyed a few weeks back, and I mentioned in episode 9. But on this one I was thinking about doing some more embroidery on it, almost black work, but not quite black work because I'm doing it in dark brown, because I thought that would go better with the colour scheme on the fabric. So I'm taking my inspiration from Russian, Latvian, Ukrainian and Estonian embroidery. You'll have seen the sort of folk shirts and dresses with the sort of big bell sleeves and lots of embroidery on them. I was going to take some inspiration from there and do some embroidery on the bib, and hopefully it'll turn out well. We shall see, but because obviously I've got to do that embroidery as well, it's going to take a little bit longer to finish the top. And again, because I did most of this whilst I was at my parents' house, it's all hand stitched. I haven't had the sewing machine anywhere near this yet. I might do when it comes to sewing the on the bib. There's some vertical lines that are sewn at regular intervals across it. I might do those on the sewing machine just to try and get a bit more uniformity to it. Right, so this is on the go and it's nearly finished, and I'm looking forward to the weather improving again so I can wear it. Although, yeah, I might just be chucking it on under a big woolly jumper for the time being. Right, that's that. Other projects that I've got on the go. I've got a half finished object. I mentioned the Drops Uni Colour, Drops Fabel Uni Colour wool that I'd done the heels and toes of these socks in. Well, the rest of the ball has turned, oh look, matching my jump. That is almost an exact match. That is quite spooky. Okay, one of the things I'd found was that whilst I have a good number of hand knit socks now, I haven't really got that many that work as a transition between really cold weather and really warm no sock weather. So I wanted a few more pairs of lacy socks that would take me between, oh, it's not warm enough to go without socks, but it's still a bit cold for, well, it's still too warm for wearing full thick woolly goodness hand knit socks. Right, so this is the pattern. Now I was inspired by some socks I'd seen on the internet the other day, and I just made up a similar pattern. Now see, I'm in a quandary here because I didn't steal the pattern but I think hers is different anyway, but it was a pattern that was in it's not been released yet, so obviously I hadn't read the instructions. I just looked at it and thought, oh, I like that. I like that effect. I think she's actually got them staggered differently, so it's a completely different pattern, but the effect of achieving it is still the same, and you could work out from the picture how to achieve a similar effect. But I say a very similar pattern is in the test knit stages at the moment, so once I've seen whether or not that pattern has been released, I'll let you know, so you can achieve something similar. the original pattern that I'd seen this texture on. It was the texture of the stitch, not the actual sock pattern that I'd made up as I went along. Was on some self striping. Well, actually, it wasn't even self striping. It was using sock scraps, so sock yarn scraps, and there was a colour management technique involved as well. So yeah, I don't feel quite so bad now that I just went, oh, I like that texture, I'll put that in some socks of my own. But I won't be releasing this pattern as my own at any point, because obviously it's not mine. Somebody else has already come up with it. But yes, anyway, enough waffling. They're shorter than I would normally do them, because like I say, that I designed them for, did not design them, I made them for the slightly warmer weather. And they're sort of nice, comfortable, match my jumper. Let me see what colour it actually is. Oh, okay, bow band. It's colour 105 from the Drops Fabel Uni Colour range. It was yarn that I had in stash. I'm trying to move away from the superwash yarns with nylon content to some extent when I'm buying new yarns. But I was using it what I had in stash, so that's what I've got. It's, yeah, I don't think there's massive amount else to say there. I've started on the second sock, but I've just got probably half the cuff done, so there's not really much to show there. Right, the other project that's on the go is a design actually. Just recently I've finished design samples for a pair of mittens that I showed back in episode 3, and a coordinating cowl and hat beanie. They're all the samples have been knit, and I've just got to get around to writing up the patterns to go with them. And I'll show you the back of it. There's going to be a coordinating shawl as well, just so you can mix and match what you want to use. This is using some, it's blowing out a bit because I'm sat opposite the patio doors onto the balcony, so it's a sort of not quite as pale a blue as it's coming across there, but this is some Laal Bear yarn. I've not got the ball band with me, I don't think. It's nice. It's really soft. Well, this is me saying it's really soft. It's not merino cashmere blend for certain, but I like it. It's a proper woolly yarn. It's a BFL blend. I don't know if it's a BFL Exmoor blend, but I'll give you more details on that another time. But yes, that's working up quite nicely, and I enjoyed sitting in my parents' garden knitting on that in the sunshine last week. Right, they're all my current projects that are on the go. I've got some plans coming up for the next month, and they're knitting and spinning related. Okay, the big one is I have a sweater's quantity of Gotland fibre to spin up. This is my favourite fibre to spin. It's just so silky and shiny and beautiful, but at the same time still really sheepy. Oh, this one smells sheepy as well, and a bit dusty because it's been in storage. But yes, so I've got a sweater's quantity of this to spin. This is from, oh, it's back to front, Adelaide Walker, who are based, what's the website there? They're based in, adelaidewalker.co.uk. They're based in the UK, and they're just over the border from me in Yorkshire. I picked this up again at Bakewell Wool Gathering a couple of years ago, and it's been in storage waiting to be spun while we were doing the big move, so I finally persuaded my other half to get it out of storage a couple of weeks ago. So this is next up on my needles, not my needles, on my wheel, although I do have some Ile de France on there at the moment that needs to be finished off. But once this has been spun up, I'm hoping to do it at a 4-ply or a light fingering weight, to then knit it up into a lace patterned cardigan, that will be a more of a couture knit, or a special piece of knitwear for wearing to special occasions. I'd spoken in one of the previous episodes about my everyday practical knits and makes for my mummy uniform, but there are also the need to incorporate a couple of couture pieces in there for events and wearing for best. But yes, so this is what it looks like when it's spun up. Don't know if you can see that there is, when you see it in real life, there is a bit of a sheen to it. This is obviously from a different sheep, because this is some that I got from Wingham Woolworks, again in the UK, and just over the border from me in Yorkshire. And then I spun this quite a long time ago, because I think I got this when I originally got my wheel, which is nearly 3 years ago now. This one still smells sheepy as well, a bit of a lanolin smell to it. But yes, I spun this and fell in love with Gotland, and I decided that I wanted a sweater's quantity. I had hoped they'd be more similar in appearance, but no, I don't think I can get away with incorporating this into the cardigan. So I'll have to have something else to knit out of this. Yes, but it has got a bit of a sheen to it. It's nice. I'd say it was next to skin soft. One thing I did read recently in Sue Blacker's book Pure Wool was that the Gotland works better when it's not spun in a worsted style. I very much spin, practically everything I spin, short forward draw or short backward draw, depending on how I'm feeling. But she did recommend that this was perhaps better spun in a more woolen prep, or if you've got it like this is prepped for worsted, because it's comb top, commercial top. It's better spun over the fold, so I'm going to try that with this, which means it will take longer probably, because I've found that if I spin over the fold I tend to end up with a lighter weight yarn, which is why I'm thinking this is probably going to come out as a light fingering rather than a fingering weight. So yes, I'm looking forward to spinning that. My next planned project for this month is to make a start on a jumper that I've had in my mind for a long time. It's going to be colour work, and it's going to be based on these two colours. These are from my local yarn shop. They're spun from my local yarn shop. This one is 100% British wool. I don't think the label specifies what breed it's from, but it's their country tweed range. And now these balls I got from the local charity shop, but because I know this wool so well, I know where it came from, and which of their yarns it is. However, I'm not sure of the colour, the colour name or the colour number, so I'll have to look that up on their website. But it's the one that's a browny grey, rather than a grey, and then so that's the mild colour, and this is the solid colour, and it's I think it's a very sort of rich chocolatey brown. It's my local yarn shop is Wool in It, and that's 5 miles down the road. This is the merino. There's no nylon in it, it's just pure merino, but it is superwash, I think, which is a shame. Oh no, it's hand wash only, so it might not be superwash. But yes, what colourway is this? Oh, just shade brown. It's from their DK Classics range, and it's going to be an interesting knit. I was inspired by gardening and like the need for a nice big comfy warm jumper when out in the garden or in the allotment, so we'll see how that one works up. It might well take a while, as I think it's going to be slow going with the colour work on the body, because it's going to be all over colour work rather than just a plain body and a colour work yoke that I'm used to. So that's what's next up on my needles. Trying to think. Yes, interesting things that I've been up to this week. The best thing ever. Whilst I was at my parents', my brother lives, well, one of my brothers lives just up the road from my parents, and he has a sheep farm, and it was shearing time and he needed help. So we all bundled into the car, me and the girls and my mum and dad, and drove to my brother's farm. And I would like to point out I did not help with the shearing in any way, shape or form, but my parents did. They weren't wrestling sheep or anything, because neither of them were particularly well at the moment, but they were stood at gates shoeing sheep in the right direction once they'd been sheared. So yes, I went and watched 67 North of England mules. Oh, actually no, I think there was one Swaledale and 2 Texels in there as well, get sheared. Yeah, the 2 tups were Texels, and I was expecting that to be quite an interesting challenge, but I think they were the best behaved sheep of the lot. Yeah, some of the mule ewes were feisty, to say the least. I would not want to be shearing a sheep for love nor money. I'm surprised they weren't covered in bruises by the end of it. But yes, it was really exciting. The mules are a crossbreed. It's traditionally a Swaledale ewe crossed with a blue-faced Leicester ram. So they've got the hardiness and the good mothering skills, or good like birthing skills of a Swaledale, but crossed with other benefits of a blue-faced Leicester ram, which for their fleeces means that the sort of coarseness of a Swaledale is bred out of it to an extent, and you get some of the benefits of the blue-faced Leicester in the fleeces. And I am absolutely kicking myself that I did not come home with one in a bag. Because my brother is primarily a sheep farmer for meat. He will probably be bagging up the fleeces and just sending them to the local wool marketing sort of collection, but he doesn't do anything really with the fleeces himself. So I would love to have come home with one, but I don't think my other half would have been too happy with me. I've already got a Swaledale fleece that's washed and just needs prepping, that's taken up space in the garage. So yes, I think I need to work through some of my stash before I start coming home with more raw fleece. I would say though that the mules, when they were shearing, looking at the fleeces, they had a massive amount of lanolin, and feeling them, because obviously I was going around picking up little tufty bits off the floor and going, I'll just spin this with my fingers. Oh, look, wouldn't that make a beautiful yarn? and showing the children, of course. It was all for their benefit, it wasn't because I was enjoying it. And my hands were coming away really soft and greasy. And looking at the shearers from wrestling with the sheep as they were shearing them, their clothes were just covered in lanolin. The boards that they were doing it on were shiny and slick with lanolin from the sheep. So yes, I think that might have been a challenge to wash all that lanolin out effectively. Although I could have spun it as it was on my wheel and oiled my wheel at the same time. But no, another thing as well, because they are meat sheep, they're not coated or anything, so the fleeces were going to be a challenge to wash. They'd had the bums clipped in the run up to the shearing, just to make it a bit more pleasant, but there would still be a lot of skirting needed, and a significant amount of veg matter to get out, because they're outdoor sheep as well. Or certainly at this time of the year they're outdoors, so they were proper dirty fleece, real fleece. But yes, I think next year, if I work through a bit more of my stash, I might ask my brother nicely if I can have at least one fleece to be working on. But yes, that was very exciting. My children didn't think it was quite as exciting as I did. Well, actually no, the youngest one did. She was the one that was upstaging me on last time's episode of the podcast. Yes, she was perfect little shepherdess, shoeing them back into the pen once they'd been sheared. It was quite funny to watch. Yeah. She can be the Lancashire shepherdess, not the Yorkshire shepherdess. Right, I think that's it. Oh no, I would like to make an excuse for my hair at the moment. I do feel a bit like a sheep in terms of my lanolin hair, because I'm on week 4 of going shampoo free, and it's looking better than it has done for the last couple of weeks, but it's still a little bit acky, shall we say. Yes, hopefully next time you see me it will be all beautiful and radiant, and it'll all have been worth it. But yeah, at the moment I do feel like I could have been sheared along with one of the sheep. Right, okay, thank you very much for listening. If you've made it this far, well done, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Alright then, bye bye.